Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com, and this is The Gutters New Year's Edition. My fellow comic book lovers, I just want to tell you that the state of the podcast is strong. Or is it? Sorry, I couldn't resist that little presidential introduction, considering the time of year that I'm releasing this episode. But the sentiment is still accurate. I think of the podcast as being strong, and especially considering what I'm thinking about for 2016. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about, just kind of take a look back, as we often do at the beginning of a new year, and just kind of reminisce and ponder, if you will, the state of Longbox Review in 2015. So if you do not read the blog at longboxreview.com, I posted at the beginning of January, I posted a 2015 in review where I talked about various things, including the podcast, as well as the blog, videos, and comics. But I wanted to talk about some of that stuff here for those people who don't go to the blog, which are not a lot, but I kind of expect that anyway. So let's see here. Let's talk about some comic stuff, comic related stuff that I found for 2015 that I found interesting. Let's see. I bought 635 new issues or trades throughout the year, which sounds like a lot. Well, for me, it sounded like a lot. But then I compared it to what I bought in 2014, and it was over 300 fewer issues and trades than in 2015, which that astounded me. So I purchased about 1,000 items in 2014. But that's okay. That's good because I have been making a more concerted effort to not buy as much, mostly to cut down on cost, and partially because there were fewer things in 2015 that I found that I was really interested in purchasing, or I felt like I wanted to read the particular comics and trades, and those trades have not come out yet. Either way. So if you do the math, that is approximately or nearly 53 issues per month in 2015 and about 12 per week. There were 64 titles that were limited series that I got during the year, which I was amazed when I tallied up that total. I didn't think that I had bought that many limited series. However, there's a big asterisk there because a big majority of those were the Convergence two-shots that I got in that year, which unfortunately was kind of a waste of money and time, but for the most part. Anyway, I bought 31 new trade collection / OGNs, and there were 10 one-shot issues. Let's see, the rest of those 635 were ongoing series that I bought throughout the year, and I bought issues from 80 different titles for the year, which that sounds like a lot too, to me anyway. And although I don't have specific numbers because I didn't log this information very well or hardly at all, I kind of did via Twitter or Instagram where I was posting pictures, but I'm not going to go back through those throughout the year and figure out what it was that I got. But I figured that I got around 200 back issues and trades in 2015. So a lot of reading material. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So as for the podcast, though, the numbers there are not nearly as impressive in my mind, and not nearly what I wanted to accomplish for the year. When I thought back on early 2015 and what I wanted to do with the show, That's not to say that I'm not proud of the episodes that I did release, especially later in the year where I did the Danger Club examination with Sleepy Reader 666, and the final episode of the year where I looked back at the New Teen Titans, my love for that series. Let's see here. I released 20 episodes total during the year, which included, of those 20, 5 The Gutters episodes, which means I only released 15 numbered episodes, and that is not nearly enough. That is not nearly what I wanted to do. I'm not big on the whole New Year's resolution thing, but man, when I saw that number, when I tallied up that number, I'm like, wow, that I really kind of fell down because there were so many things that I wanted to do with the show, so many topics that I wanted to get to that I just simply did not get to. And, life just got in the way, basically. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I have plans. I'll get to that in a second. Before that, though, I wanted to just let you know that thanks to you, there were nearly 8,500 downloads among the about 109 episodes that are currently in the feed. March was my busiest month, and June 30th saw the most downloads in a day. So I found that interesting. The most downloaded episode of the year was episode 80, which was the favorites of 2014, part 1, which is, I find that really amusing because while it was released in 2015, it is looking back at the previous year, and that was the most downloaded episode. So I just found that a little humorous, but followed very, very closely by 3 fewer downloads. Episode 79, which was the Valentine's Day special, which also kind of blew me away. Anyway, but also I want to mention that thanks to you, the listeners, that people in over 50 countries have listened to the show or did listen to the show in 2015. So I think that's just amazing. So thank you all very much. I thought briefly about trying to say thank you in the languages of the 50 countries, and that would just not be good. I would not do a good job at that. So I will just say simply in my own language, a thank you. So as I mentioned, life kind of got in the way. That's why I have been sort of absent from the podcast in the last few months. Basically, I think in November, I don't think that I released anything. Thinking back on it, but I should probably check that. No, that's not true. I did release the final 2 episodes of the Danger Club discussion in November, but from mid-November through approximately mid-December, I did not release anything. So why was that? Well, coming up on the holidays, I kind of have traditionally kind of taken December off, sort of, in years past. This year was just slightly earlier. And then I didn't release anything at the end of December, which, like I said, that irritates me that I didn't do what I wanted to do. But like I said, life got in the way with holidays. I watched more TV. I read more books. And then, let's see here. We also had a vacation in the last week of December. So this is what happened. So this Christmas, it was just my wife and I. Our granddaughters that we're raising, they're 10 and 11. They weren't with us. They were with their other family. And so it was just Kitra and myself. And my younger daughter is now married and down in Boise. And so we had made arrangements to, after Christmas, the week after Christmas, we were going to go down there because then our granddaughters were back with us. And so we did that. So we spent a week in the Boise, Idaho area. And so we celebrated Christmas when we arrived that Saturday after Christmas, and with my daughter and her husband. And then we did various things throughout the week. Monday, we went skiing. at I think it's called Bogus Basin, the little ski area down there. That was my very first time on snow skis, which was very interesting. So I had trouble learning how to stop for the most part, but eventually kind of picked it up. Although, man, if you had seen me the way that I was skiing and trying to stop, it just, I'm sure it looked very comical to those around me. We basically spent 2 hours learning or taking the lesson. It was myself, my wife, and our 2 granddaughters learning to ski for the first time. But it was a lot of fun. After the 2 hours was over, we went and had lunch, and my wife and I were kind of thinking, well, we're really tired and it's cold out. Although we weren't that cold. When it comes to it, we were not cold doing the ski lessons while we were skiing, but then we did snow tubing, and that's when we started freezing. But anyway, our younger granddaughter Madison really, really loved it and convinced us to go back out. And so we spent another basically hour out skiing before we had our snow tubing session that we had to get to. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. That next Tuesday, the next day, Tuesday, was my birthday. And we celebrated by going to Captain Comics in Boise. And so I bought a bunch of books. I published or I showed people on Instagram and Twitter what those were. And essentially I bought a bunch of Jamal Igle Supergirl comics, stuff where he had done the art on that run of the 2005 Supergirl series. A bunch of New Adventures of Superboy, which was a title that when it first came out back in, I think it was 1980, 81, something like that, I was actually getting that. And I don't remember how many issues I got before I stopped getting that comic, but I really enjoyed that book. And so recently I thought I would get those comics or start getting those comics again, because I gave them away years ago and I really regretted that. But I got a bunch of those. I got a bunch of books to fill in my missing issues of Legion of Superheroes and Legionnaires, and a bunch of other things that I just got. So that was really cool. I got to do that. I also got a bunch of trades for Christmas and my birthday, including, what was it? Grant Morrison's New X-Men, Peter David's X Factor, A Journey into Mystery by Kieran Gillen. Spider-Man Blue, I got that. A few others that are escaping me at the moment, but I got a lot of stuff to read. In fact, yesterday at the time of this recording, I cleaned up my office a little bit. I have 3 bookshelves up against one wall, and 2 of them are full of trades that I have gotten over the years, and I was running out of room. And I got one of the Christmas presents my wife got me was an In-Stock Trades gift certificate, and I ordered a bunch of new books from there. They'll be arriving very shortly, and so I wanted to clean up the bookshelves and then make more room for the books that I'll be getting, from In-Stock Trades and going forward. And I was able to basically clear off 2 whole shelves and almost half of another one. And once I get those full, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe it's time I should sell off some of these books and trade them in for other things. Anyway, but I have a lot of stuff to read, including all the trades that I got this for Christmas and birthday. I also have, what did I count? Nearly 40 comics, monthly issues that have been stacking up because, like I said, we were on vacation for that week, and I'd gotten some books before we went down, and that was a week's worth of books. I didn't get to read any of those. I even took them down with me and still did not get to read them. And then the week after we got back, I got 2 weeks worth of books, and I've got another set of weeks of books coming very shortly. So I am way behind in my reading. And like I said, I just kind of took some me time, some downtime, so to speak, from the blog and the podcast. Part of that was watching some TV. So I have been watching Jessica Jones. I'm about 2/3 of the way through that series. And I still like it. I think I mentioned it in a previous episode, or the Gutters episode, where I like the show. I really dig the lead actress in the show. But something happened just recently in the plot of the show where I'm kind of like, what's going on here? Why did they do that? And how are they going to get through to the rest of to the end of the first season? And as I record this today, I read on Twitter that Netflix has greenlit a second season of the show. So, which I kind of thought that was a foregone conclusion, but I don't know. I also got into where I should have been watching like Supergirl with my granddaughters and some other shows like iZombie and Flash for that matter. I haven't been doing that. Instead, I've been watching Making a Murderer. So there was this one day on Twitter where all these people that I follow were just talking about this thing called Making a Murderer. And so I checked into it and found out it was a documentary about this guy who was wrongly accused of rape back in, I don't remember what it was. He got out in 2003, spent 18 years in jail for a crime he did not commit because DNA evidence exonerated him. And then he was arrested later for murder. And so this documentary follows these cases with this guy and his family. And my wife and I have just been devouring that show. We have, I think, 3 more episodes. It's 10 episodes long. So we've been watching that. So that's what's been occupying my time. I have been reading some comics, but I need to get on that. Oh, also, I also appeared in late 2015 on the George and Tony Entertainment Show. I believe that was episode 92. And of course, I'd be wrong about that because my memory sucks. It was episode 98. And that came out on December 14th. So go listen to that if you want to hear me talk about myself. Essentially, George was very kind and interviewed me about various topics. And I encourage you to go listen to the George and Tony Entertainment Show. It's quite fun. So enough about what I had done and looking back at the past. So what is going on for the future? Well, to put it simply, I want to do more episodes. I'm trying to commit myself to doing at least 2 numbered episodes per month, if not more. And then however many of these, the Gutters, I want to do. And of course I want to do more. So that means I need to shift my focus from some things, which means I've kind of decided, not fully, but kind of decided that I will maybe do less posting on the blog, considering the fewer numbers I get on the blog as opposed to here on the podcast. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I want to do more of those. I want to get more people on the show, more fans of comic books, more of my buddies that I've had in the past. Just bring on some more people, maybe some people that have been on the show before but have not been on in a while. I also need to ask George if he would come on the show. And I've been wanting to do this obviously since day one, but I want to have comic creators, the artists and writers of these books that I love, come onto the show and talk to it. But I've always kind of felt like I'm just this little guy among so many. I'm a little fish in a very big pond, and there are so many other more well-known people out there that it makes more sense for comic creators to talk to, I guess. But despite that, I still want to do it. I still want to get some people on. I guess it doesn't hurt to ask. All I can say is no, and I move on. So that's a plan. And, I have right now, as of this recording, I have 6 shows, 6 topics that I want to do that I cannot wait to get to. And instead of doing this episode where I'm talking about what I want to do, I should just do them, right? Anyway, I will get to those hopefully very soon, and hopefully commit more time to doing this thing that I love to do, and hopefully get more people involved as well. So, and part of that also means that I've asked this before, I think on the last episode that I released, but I'll ask it again. If you, the listener out there, have any ideas for topics that you would like me to talk about, please let me know. I'd really appreciate that. Maybe get some interaction, and who knows, maybe I will ask you to join me in that topic discussion, because I think that would be awesome if you're so inclined. I know some people are content at listening and don't want to have their voice projected out into the interwebs, and I totally get that. But if you are listening to this and you have some ideas, please send them to me. And how do you do that? Well, there's a variety of ways that you can contact me. As I always say at the end of every episode, every show that I do, you can always email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. There's also a contact page at the podcast, at the website, and that is, you go to longboxreview.com/feedback. And there's a bunch of different ways. I haven't talked about this in a while. There's a voicemail number that I have. It's 208-953-1841. I also have voice messaging through SpeakPipe that you can get to. And then, of course, there's always Twitter at Longbox Review, Instagram, Longbox Review, Facebook.com/Longbox Review. I'm also on Tumblr at longboxreview.tumblr.com. And at Google Plus as well. Lots of different ways to get a hold of me, so please do so. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to have more interaction with you, and I'm looking forward to what comes in 2016. And again, once again, thank you all for listening, for the feedback, for the conversation from 2015 and before that even. Thank you so much. I hope your 2016 is happy and bright, and all the good fortunes come your way as well. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.